Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Rime of the Frostmaiden, presented by Penny Dragon Games. I am, as always, your Dungeon Master, Craig Darling, and I'm very excited to be back. We've taken a bit of a break, but we're going to get to our players around the table and characters and what's been going on in just a sec. But before we do, I have just a few little words for you from all of our friends at Penny Dragon. Charge your particle cannons, prime your plasma engines, and prepare your synaptic relays for the D&D 5e science fiction conversion that you've been waiting for, and frankly, so have I. Penny Dragon Games has just launched Waystar. If you back the project before the campaign ends, you'll be in with a chance to win a box containing everything that the Kickstarter has to offer. I'll get into that in just a second. Waystar is a new TTRPG based on the familiar 5e rules, so you can hit the upper decks running. The Kickstarter includes a core rulebook for players and GMs, a creature codex with over 100 monsters and a lot more on the way, and a galactic setting with everything you need to get your game off the planet. Now, let's also not forget about Steal the Stars. Steal the Stars is a space heist adventure that pits the players against the dark forces of Shiv Space, a remote star system overtaken by centuries-old penal colonies. Players must steal the stars, ancient artifacts with untold power, before the nefarious gangs of Shiv Space can get their dirty paws, claws, and tentacles on them. Otherwise, the galaxy and everything in it will be purged with cosmic flame. And we haven't even gone to the fabric star maps, space battle card decks, galactic dice sets, or the Space Monkey plushie. Yes, you heard that right. Wrench the Space Monkey is coming in hot. This Kickstarter provides everything you need to run a fast-paced, high-octane, ridiculously fun space adventure. And with comics, novels, and more content that you can shake a shadow saber at in the works, you'll never run out of source material to inspire your games. But let's face it, no one can inspire your games more than you and your players. So back Waystar now and turn an alien fleet into a flock of seagulls with a probability torpedo. Hack a Waystar control module and jump to another star system without paying the toll, or blow up a few planets, causing a great disturbance in the cosmic magical field, you despicable villain. There's no such thing as going too far with Waystar. So yes, a brief message from our space lawyers. Penny Dragon Games cannot be held responsible for a galactic guard pursuing you when you have indeed gone too far. Please do not pledge if you're a celestial being with an appetite for entire planets, an advanced artificial intelligence based on galactic dominion, or an extraterrestrial supervillain eager to wipe out half of all life in the universe. No space monkeys were harmed in making this promotion. And yeah, you can back Waystar now. You can find the link on Penny Dragon Games and probably in the show notes below as well. We'll make sure to get it out in the chat a few times over this stream as well. And we have a couple other little blurbs here from our other projects, new continuing games here at Penny Dragon. Sovereign Saga continues on Friday. The giants that attacked Ratriak's Grove have been defeated, but at great cost. Life goes on though, and the party know that the Valdar is working fast behind the scenes. Where to next for the Saviors of Somerton? On Thursday, September 8th, a civilization will die, conquered by a terrible force of evil and hate. Join our new party of beleaguered heroes as they flee for their lives, desperate to escape. Journeys Through the Radiant Citadel by Wizards of the Coast will stream once a month on Thursdays. Can our party of heroes find a new home and escape their old one? We'll find out next week. Cloaks of Minehelm is back on the 11th. The commander is dead. A nefarious cult plots the city's downfall. And in a blaze of sorcerous glory, Ember revealed himself to be much more than an ordinary alley cat. Candlekeep Mysteries is back on Thursday, the 22nd of September. With a successful encounter behind them, the party await to see what befalls them next. It can't be any more challenging, right? The Churn Gang have defeated Baba Blackbeak and saved Ozzer from the Wind Lord Laksha, a djinn who has been possessing his body. On September 9th, they will ponder their next move, go after Kareth the Usurper, help Lady Blaze and the Merfolk, find out what Orcus is up to, do some shopping. And the Fellowship has made it back to Phandalin, no thanks to a pair of Wyvern and some Ogre. Now it appears they are being watched by some unknown entity. This coming Tuesday, the search continues on Fellowship for the Fallen. Man, we got a lot of projects going right now. It is super cool to be doing all these different games at the same time. But yeah, back to Rime the Frostmaiden. Last time we got together, just kind of a little bit of a bigger recap because we've taken about a month off. So the party initially arrived in the town of Goodmead to hear out Hlyn Trollbane, this dwarven retired bounty hunter who was eager to hire the party on to investigate a series of murders within the 10 towns. Specifically those cities that sacrificed lives at the end of each month of the Frostmaiden. So Bryn, Shander, East Haven, Targos, but also in Tourmaline, which is a town that typically doesn't, so it's a bit of an outlier. Hlyn has a bit of evidence, some leads of where the party might investigate. The weapon used in all of these murders, this sort of dagger with this unmelting blade of ice, was used in all of the murders so far. It suggests maybe a connection to the Children of Oral, the local religion that worships the Frostmaiden. It's taken a bit of a political hold in the country, in the region, rather, I should say. Also, kind of strangely, Torx Caravan, this traveling merchant group with a bit of a nefarious reputation, happened to be in or near all of the cities around the time of the murders, if not on the day of. So, that might be something the party looks into when they get to the next place. But while they were in Goodmead, a Verbeeg attacked, killing the speaker of Goodmead and stealing a large shipment of ale bound for the rest of the 10 towns, which is a bit of a problem because Goodmead is the only producer of any sort of alcohols or spirits or drinks. I've just said 3 words for the same thing. Anyway, yeah, basically, if the shipment goes missing, it's going to cause a lot of grumpy people all over the 10 towns. And the party did, in fact, recover it. They found the Verbeeg back at its lair with the shipment and got into a bit of a conversation with this Verbeeg before they did ultimately strike him down. It had turned out that this Verbeeg was acting in retaliation. Allegedly, a group of Goodmead's militia had snuck into the forest that night and killed its brother and tried to kill it, and it barely got away with its life. And its raid of Goodmead was just sort of a revenge more than a raid or anything like that. And all of the party kind of sympathized. He was also lying through his teeth about more than one thing. He had this big herd of like farm animals, like goats and sheep, that he had clearly not raised himself, and he had lied about where they came from and kind of the specifics of what had gone on the previous night. And ultimately, an agreement couldn't be formed, and the party, did what they had to do, and unfortunately, Doug the Verbeeg lay dead at the end of that encounter. The party has since returned to Goodmead with the ale, taken a good night's rest, kind of explored Goodmead a little bit, and kind of got the temperature of the town that is now in mourning for its speaker, but also preparing for the next election to elect the next speaker, whoever that may be. Now, before we jump right in, I'd love to get over to our players. You've heard me talk for a long time, and you're going to have to deal with a lot more of it. So let's get introducing our lovely cast here. So why don't we go ahead? Ashton, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, get people reacquainted with your character a little bit.
Hey y'all, my name is Ashton. I play Katami. She is a half-orc sorceress who's also a champion beauty queen. This is her very first adventure. She's trying to do things just a little bit outside of, just being a beauty queen, prove that she can be more than just a gorgeous face and a gymnast body. Also to prove to her mother that she is just as intelligent and strong a sorceress as she is.
Lovely. Okay, that's great. Brandy, why don't you come up next?
All right. Vivian is a Dathomir. She is a trickster rogue, arcane trickster rogue. There we go. This would be her first adventure with the party. Her life's kind of been an adventure for the last little bit. She's a young adult, and she's kind of nervous and trying to figure herself out in the ways of the world. She's not as a socialite as her favored orc friend, but she's trying to learn from her. So it'll be an interesting adventure.
It will be indeed, or at least I hope you all feel that it is. Ryan, why don't you come up next?
So as you can see, I am playing Rumble Buffin. Rumble Buffin is a Furbolg druid who's come down from the mountains to try and find someone. And through speaking to different people, he realized that kind of working alongside this party would probably get him some answers that he needed to find the people he needs. So yeah, for now, he's pretty happy to be with this group. And to be honest, they've actually treated him pretty well. So he's not too much in a rush to get out of it.
I'm glad to hear that. And last but not least for now, Jack, why don't you go ahead and get people reacquainted with you and your character?
Hello, I am Jack. I am playing Earl, a half-orc Eldritch Knight fighter. He is very attached to his job, very pragmatic. Tries not to talk too much unless he absolutely has to. Generally quite a bit socially awkward, but gets the job done, which he considers to be the most important thing.
And you know what? I actually it's good to have folk like that in such a party as this. And we also will have Kelson in just a little bit. Unfortunately, he's had a bit of car trouble, and he's getting a ride home, and he's going to let us know. We'll take our break and come back in the second half with him later. He is playing Iodin, our Houndsfolk Ranger, and I'll let him kind of reacquaint himself with you all when we get back. But to kind of jump into today, it has now been, you've stayed the night in good mead. It has passed without any sort of incident. You've gotten a good night's sleep. It is fairly early the next morning as you're starting to get up, and even from upstairs in your private rooms in the mead hall, you can hear the sound of like raised voices downstairs. One raised voice, to be more specific, and it sounds as if someone is maybe not arguing, but just like being very boisterous and loud and that sort of thing. Other than that, it's a pretty calm morning. It doesn't look like it's going to storm at all today, although you know more better than anyone how quickly that can change in the Dale, and it's fairly pleasant, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And yeah, what are you all up to this morning?
Okay, I'll start. So Rumble, the night before, had gone to his room after feeding his new friend, the Arctic fox.
Absolutely.
With bacon and different things and stuff that way. So they went back to the room, and he set up on the floor again as he did the night before, so that when the moon and starlight came through the window, he was on the floor. And then the fox actually come and curled up with him as well. So this morning, he'll kind of, wake up, gently pet the fox to waken it, sort of thing. And then he'll just kind of get up, do his stretches and stuff, because although he's laid on the floor and he's comfortable because he's used to it, it's still good to stretch out the back,
Absolutely.
And then he'll just lift up the fox and put it on his shoulder and start heading down towards the noise and towards the food, hopefully.
Yeah, and indeed, as you are kind of opening up the door and entering into that upper hallway, from the stairs down to the left end of the hallway, you can already smell, bacon, eggs, your standard breakfast fare at a place like this. And you head downstairs. Anyone else before we get downstairs? Anyone doing anything particular this morning? Anything they're taking some time aside in the morning to do, maybe?
Just Katsumi's usual, the yoga
Your
in the
yoga
morning,
and
nice
your-
stretches, and all that good stuff, especially since she got interrupted the other day.
Mhm.
So she's making sure she does double, but not enough to overexert herself, and because you never know when you're gonna have to gear up and fight again. So she doesn't want to be too tired, but
Yeah,
make
gotta
sure
be
that
limber.
she's very limber. Yes.
Probably a few letters to finish writing as well.
Those got sent out.
Oh yes, absolutely, they did.
My letters did get sent out.
They did get sent out on your way out of Goodmead the last time. That's right. All right. And if no one else has anything, they're probably just waking up and heading down for breakfast towards this noise. I'll just kind of fast forward down there a little bit. Coming down into that lower level, that kind of big open hallway, you can see there's a few people in here that have stayed and are having breakfast, and people coming in and out, and days just sort of getting going in Goodmead. And there's this one dragonborn that is either still or has just gotten very, very drunk, and he is just bellowing, and he's got like this big friendly smile, and he's like hitting people on the shoulder way too hard and like almost knocking them over. Like he's one of those overly friendly sorts, and he's like, I tell you, it's the truth. Way out in the tundra must be a 3 or 4 decker, a huge ship just sitting out there. And a lot of the people around him, mostly dwarves and humans in Goodmead, they're kind of trying to just distance themselves, and they're not really paying him any mind. A couple of them are just arguing like, that makes no sense. You've been drinking. You're an imbecile. Like, don't bother us. And kind of looks over and sees the 5 of you kind of coming down, or the 4 rather. Aiden's not with us yet, but sees the 4 of you coming down, and looks over and says, that looks like a group of folk who might be down to do a bit of an adventure. You fancy a treasure hunt?
Rumble's just gonna like point at himself. Like,
Yeah, you.
And they'll walk over and start listening to him at least while he's eating his breakfast.
I'll walk over with Rumble as well.
It's always good to start the morning with some entertainment.
And if you're all kind of just gonna hear this guy out, he is okay. I'll start at the beginning. So I was out with me friend 2-3 nights ago, out western side of Dugan's Hole there, probably 5-6 hours out from here. And in the middle of nothing, there's this huge ship. It looks like it's a military vessel, maybe. It's I don't know. It's huge. It's no rowboat. Like I was just saying, it's got to have at least 3 decks on it. Looks like the gods just threw it at the ground there. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
Rumble's all in listening to this right now. He's like totally enthralled by this story. He's just like eating away, feeding the fox while listening. He's like well into it.
So Vivian's going to look up at Rumble, and then she's going to see how into it he is, and she's going to be like, well, tell us more.
Okay, well, I mean, to be fair, I'm not the most brave of folk, and it did give me a bit of the spooks. I didn't get very close, but I can tell you that it looks like it's been there a long time, and I take that route once, twice a week when I go hunting, and there's usually nothing there, so it just got there. I don't know how, but I don't have an explanation, but yeah, I mean, it's out there. It looks like a big old pirate ship, maybe.
So you said it looked like the gods dropped it there.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you happen to maybe throw something at it to make sure it wasn't just an illusion?
That
I know folks who use magic
you
tend
know,
to, they
I
like to
didn't.
play jokes on people.
I didn't even think of that. To be fair, we had a couple of drinks, and maybe I wasn't all in sorts, but yeah, no, I didn't. I didn't even think about it.
No, it's all right. It happens. It's late. You've had a long shift. You've been in your cups. Of course, you're not going to think maybe this is magic. Why would you? It looked fairly real. So either it's real
Yeah,
or
but
it's a very good illusion.
I'm not unaware of the world around me either, though. Like I know there are spellcasters out there. Like I should have thought, what? Honestly, I'm a little embarrassed.
Well, that was not my intention at all. I'm so sorry.
No, you're right to point that out. It might not actually be there, but I mean, in the middle of the night, I didn't see anyone around, and I mean, why there? I don't know. You could be right. It might be a practical joke,
or just someone practicing.
Or yeah, true.
I mean, it sounds very intriguing, right, Rumble? Yeah. So, I mean, would you be willing to maybe show us where this possibly magic ship is?
I mean, yeah, if you've got a map, I can show you exactly where it is. And,
I mean, would you lead us back to it?
No, I don't want to get close to that thing. It was like I said, it gave me a little bit of the spooks, but you look like brave folk.
So she'll pull out a map and she'll lay it on the table and she'll be like, so, in case we have time today, maybe we can look for it and, maybe report back to you and let you know if it was real or not.
Okay, well, okay, sounds good to me. And I'll just switch you over to the region map here. I'm gonna start putting like little markers for things as we hear it on the region map. But just for now, kind of marks this location of the tundra roughly, kind of beneath the Shengarn River, maybe 10 miles inland.
Okay.
So it's a little bit further out than he said it was, but that's where he's marking the location.
The Rumble will just grab his slate and his chalk, as he always has on him, and just writes on it, "Do we have time?" and shows it to Vivian.
She's going to kind of give you like the shrug and she's going to look to Katumi and Earl. Do you guys think we have time maybe after breakfast?
I mean, it is about, you said it was 5 hours out?
5 or 6. And he looks down at the map where he's like marked and okay, maybe more like 10.
Maybe more like 10. Okay. We're gonna have a little group huddle on over here, and we'll let you know if we've got the time to make a little detour.
All right.
Does he seem like a shyster?
You can give me an insight check.
Just luring us out into the bloody nowhere. And 16.
16 does not appear to be deceiving you. There's something about just like he's being like very charismatic and friendly and maybe a little inebriated, but he doesn't seem to be actively trying to deceive you at all. There's nothing about his body language that would suggest that.
Okay, cool.
Now that we've taken his attention away from everyone else, how was the rest of the tavern sort of feeling?
Looking around, that wall that big spear got thrown through and kind of shattered a big section of it has been repaired magically by now. A lot of the people that actually, like a lot of the residents, the non-militia members, were able to get inside safely. So a lot of people came out of it fairly unscathed. There's a couple militia members that you see that are in, wearing slings or they're walking a little funny, but overall things seem pretty decent.
Yeah, no, I meant because when we came down, he was just talking to anybody who would listen, and everybody else was kind of ignoring him.
Oh, just in terms of him. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah. No, know what? There's like a lot of grateful faces. Honestly, there's most of the other patrons here seem relieved that you have kind of stolen this guy away to your table and are hearing him so that you don't have to. But yeah, none of them are like. None of them are like getting up to be like, "Hey, don't listen to him. He's like a piece of shit," or whatever. You know, they're just like kind of happy to be rid of this person.
Gotcha. Okay.
As I know the territories up here, would I understand kind of one, how far it really is to get there, and two, how difficult it would be?
You could give me just a nature check. Actually, would cover that.
Natural 20 for 24.
Dang. Yeah. So a lot of the tundra around the 10 towns specifically are, not terribly hard to get around. It's not until you get a little bit further towards the spine of the world where you get into foothills and things start to get a little bit harder to traverse. It's a lot of flat tundra, and specifically in the sort of western section beyond Bremen and Targos and Dugan's Hole there, that whole side, that western side of the 10 Trail Road, it is very flat, very plain, relatively easy to get across. It's just a big swath of land, so it takes a while.
Okay, cool. Actually, with that as well, would I know of any particular inhabitants of that area?
Same standard fare that you would see in the rest of the surrounding 10 towns, the tundra surrounding the 10 towns, I should say. You're at worst your yetis and frost trolls.
So creatures and outcasts, basically.
Yeah, creatures and outcasts, the occasional hunter. Actually, probably you would run across hunters pretty often, I believe. And yeah, no actual permanent residents.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Well, aside from like, I suppose the occasional group of bandits that have taken up residence in some old hold or something.
Yeah, okay. Cool. So in for the group huddle. Listening.
I mean, that's 10 hours out of our way. We already had a little mini adventure with the Verbeeg. Do we have actual time to go and check out this pirate ship when we have an actual job to do that we've been hired for?
Very true. Were we put on a time limit to get this hired job done?
Well, I personally would like to get it done before the next person gets murdered.
Oh, yes, that's right. It slipped my mind. I'm very sorry.
They're the small details.
So do we have any leads on this murder?
We just have to follow the caravan of that oily salesman. Or rather, hit the town that he's going towards, since I'm sure he's already on his way to the next one.
Which town is that?
I believe is that Tourmaline?
It is Tourmaline, yes.
All right. Let me get a closer.
So it would be from Goodmead. Supposing you just took the roads, you'd head, northeast to the Eastway, and then head west to Bryn, and then you'd have to go through Targos and then cut up north to Tourmaline. You can cut a lot of that time down if you just went straight tundra Goodmead to Tourmaline. It's actually like quite a short trip, all things considered. Would probably take about the same time as getting out to this alleged pirate ship.
And how long was it? And how long was it meant to be before the caravan will arrive at Tourmaline?
They are left Bryn Shander, they left Targos for Tourmaline late the previous evening, so they're probably there already.
Oh.
And they usually stay for 2 or 3 days.
Well, then it's probably pressing we skip the pirate ship and go on this adventure. Now, the question is, I mean, and I look to Rumble. He's pretty built for rough tundra, it seems, correct? Okay. But the rest of us, how do we feel about this? I mean, the cold doesn't really bother me anyway, but what about you?
Rumble's just stroking his fur, like puts his thumb up. He's all good.
I mean, I did pack more or less appropriately for this, but if you recall, last time we were just out in the tundra, there were, we got attacked by Yetis. And I just worry that would be the thing that would slow us down, not so much the weather.
Perhaps one of us could investigate this pirate ship and then report back. Will the other ones continue ahead to Termline?
We could see if somebody would do that.
So Rumble will put on a slate, splitting up, really? Question mark.
I recently purchased a mount. I could technically cover greater distance than you could, and quite possibly get there
quite a bit faster
in relatively less time.
Yeah, let me get you the actual travel speed on that.
So Rumble will put on there on the slate again. What about safety, and show it towards you to say, like, look, what do you think towards Earl?
About safety? I believe on a mount, should I see any sort of threats such as a Yeti or troll, I believe I could quite easily outrun them on a mount.
Yeah, axe beaks are quite quick. Yeah,
as long as I keep my distance, I should be fine. But if you wish, I can find a way of alerting you should I wind up in trouble. It is simply a suggestion.
Yeah, so traveling by Axebeak, you would move just over half. So you're moving it would take about a third of the time to get there. So you're actually looking at about 3.5 hours to get out, maybe 4 hours to where the ship is supposed to be.
Oh, wow.
So if he got there but then rode back to Tourmaline to meet us there, how long would that take him?
By the quickest estimation from where that ship is, it would take about 3 hours to get back to the Eastway, and then maybe another hour and a half. So, in theory, Earl could actually beat you there if he was quick about scouting out the area.
Okay. So on the slate, I just put vote, ? I'll show it to the group.
Who?
Vote, as in, should we take a vote on whether you should do it, kind of thing. So
He's gonna look to Katumi.
Oh, don't put this on me. He's a whole grown man. If he wants to go off on his own, then who are we to stop him? Just of all the times for me to not have a sending stone, that way you could contact us.
That would be very useful. I mean, it never hurts to look into it. But I've always heard, splitting up can be a really bad thing. So my vote is it's up to Earl.
And Rumble just nod to that, yeah.
If you feel safe, be my guest. I mean, I'm very curious about this pirate ship as well, but saving lives.
Who's not to say that we don't get to Tourmaline and get and finish what we need to do, and then we can head right on back. It's a big old ship in the middle of nowhere. If it's going to go somewhere, it'll reappear somewhere else. It's not like it's on water.
True.
If none of you have any opinion, or you wish for me to make the choice, then I would make the choice that simply seems most favorable. Many members right now appear to be in favor of the idea of the idea of checking out this ship. Therefore, if it is up to me, then I will go and investigate the ship and report back. Scouting is I consider scouting to be one of my occupations, and something I am fairly skilled in.
Oh. Well, then it's settled.
Very good. I shall leave as soon as I have had breakfast.
And then do we want to take the rough tundra, or do we want to take the longer trip?
Rumble just kind of does that, like straight to it kind of thing.
See if I can get some of that ale to give me a little bit of a liquid blanket there, at least for a little while.
Well, then we will definitely use the rope tied around our waist theory to walk through, so no one gets lost in case they've had too much blanket.
I do appreciate that.
Yeah, and Rumble then just put, I'll lead on his slate and show you, as he did before. So yeah, tucking into some grub, making sure I'm well fueled for the day, I guess.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yep.
Get your various solid and liquid breakfasts and have a nice little meal together before splitting up.
Would there be a place here that I could possibly get a pull sled?
Pardon me?
Like a sled that I can pull along behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Just to put our bags and stuff on, just to take off equipment weight to us as such, making it a bit easier for the other two.
Certainly I'm sure there would be, at the very least, someone who makes dog sleds here.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's probably doable.
Yeah, like I said, mainly for putting gear on so that the other two aren't so encumbered, and then obviously in the worst case situation where somebody's injured enough that we need to just get them away, I can put them on there and run at full speed,
Yeah.
Scooby-Doo
They do in fact have a pull sled. It's got a capacity of 300 pounds, so you could actually offset a lot of weight that way. And yeah, they'll just run you 20 gold pieces for that though.
20 gold. Okay, yeah. It's an investment, so yeah, I'm happy to do that.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, do you have enough for it? If not, I can invest as well.
He does, yeah.
Okay.
The other thing is he I would say that he's probably not as he is and he isn't not as clued in with money, in the sense of he wouldn't understand necessarily what's a good price and what's a bad price. So they're like 20 gold and he's just like, okay, because he's assuming that they know what they're talking about, kind of thing. So
yeah.
Got it. When we get into bigger towns, I have to go shopping with Rumble.
yeah,
That way I can let him know if he's getting ripped off.
yeah, pretty much.
Oh man, I love that.
He does. He's never had to really use money everything he needed, he got off the land, or through his tribe and stuff. So he never needed money.
Fair enough. Yeah. Does anyone else have anything they would like to take care of in town before we split off in our separate directions?
I'm just gonna go say like a proper goodbye to Core, and just let her know that, we're officially heading out, that I'm really glad that the tavern is back to normal. I'm glad that the majority of folks are okay, and I will be back to continue to claim my crown in just a few months.
And she says, I'm very much looking forward to that, my dear. Did I overhear right you're heading out to Tourmaline?
Yeah, we are. Well, most of us.
Well, I wonder, I could throw you a couple gold pieces if you wouldn't mind bringing one of these casks that you've rescued out to Tourmaline. They have an order for some. You're heading out that way.
Yeah, no, that's not a problem at all.
We're definitely keeping warm.
She's just gonna grab it and heft it over her shoulder.
Love that. All right, yeah, and she'll give you 15 gold to make that trip for her.
Yeah, we're heading out there anyway.
All right.
I'm gonna go once I'm outside and stuff. After I've got the car and stuff, or the sled, I'm gonna put the fox back down on the ground off my shoulder. And you kind of stroke it and stuff, and I'm gonna put my head down and just whisper to it. And obviously, just so everyone knows what the whisper is, but he's essentially just saying to it, "Stay here, stay safe, guard the town for me."
Aww.
Kind of gives you
I love that.
bit of a cockeyed look, nods its head, turns around, and dashes off, disappearing behind a bush. But you watch it kind of go, and after a moment, you see it hasn't really gone anywhere. It's like just watching you from under that bush, pretending to have gone away.
I'll keep an eye out just to make sure he doesn't actually follow me, but I assume he's just waiting to see what I'm up to, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Does this fox, I mean, I know it's an artifact, but does it have any like distinctive markers on it?
It's mostly this sort of unbroken, very, very light gray, almost white coat, but it does have this single black stripe kind of going from nose down to tip of the tail down its back.
Right. So I'm just gonna also just tell Core to kind of maybe leave out some scraps for him as well, just so that he stays near the town and doesn't follow us, and when he doesn't get hurt.
Yeah, she's more than happy to do that for you. Yeah.
I love the idea he's got this like reverse skunk look about him. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. The reverse skunk. It sprays you and you smell good.
God,
all right.
How cool would that be? Timmy would be taking it around with us and just be like, "Go on, I got pageant today. Make me smell good."
It's just like the best, but you got to get sprayed. It's the only way. You can't actually bottle it.
Nope.
Okay. So with all of that in order, Earl heads off. Earl, would you say because you would have the option of following the road mostly to the next town over Dugan's Hole, but then you'd have to hit the tundra, or you could just like follow the border of the forest and hit the tundra right away?
Which would make better time, if either?
It would be a pretty marginal reduction in time, but like going down the 10 trail would be the way to go.
In that case, I would follow the 10 trail, just to be safe.
Love that. And the rest of the party heads sort of northwest a little bit up towards Tourmaline, crossing the tundra that way. All right. Well, this is not how I expected this to go, and I love it. Could I get Earl and someone from the rest of the group to give me a random encounter roll, please? I need 2d20s from both of you.
I will roll the survival checks, but random encounters, I will leave that up to the girls to pick.
I'll do it this time if you'd like.
Okay.
Oh.
That'll be my fault. So you said 2d20?
Yeah. $13 and $17, $17 and $20. Oh, this is very fun. Okay.
Oh, no.
We're gonna start with Earl. Earl, you make like pretty good time initially getting down the road towards Dugan's Hole, and it comes to a point where there's a bit of a branching in the road, and you can see the very, very small town of Dugan's Hole, you know, just a couple minutes down the road. Looks like about 50 people live there, and it's just like the buildings are a sorry mess. It is not a very nice town, but you're not too concerned about that as you kind of cut out across the tundra. As you do, you kind of get into this sort of big flatness that Rumble might have described to you, and there's like a singular hill that you come across about an hour out into this tundra that kind of coming around or over it, you see a very large, like 25-foot tall humanoid with blue skin and a big shaggy white beard and what looks like bits of metal armor, hefting this huge great axe at a clump of trees. And it's you can just start to hear it. It sounds like it's almost singing, but the language, what languages do you speak actually?
I believe I just speak common and orc.
Orc. So yeah, no, yeah, you don't really recognize the tongue, but it sounds very like throaty and simple almost. But that might just be how it sounds to your ears. And they are felling entire trees with single swipes of this great axe, and you can see them kind of take a pause and pull like 2 trees up, one in each hand, and put it in this very, very large sled. It doesn't seem to have noticed you, though.
Okay. Would I trust if I was to kind of get this axe beak to back up, let's say like 20 feet? Would I be able to trust that it wouldn't make much noise, that I could just kind of quietly get it to back up 20 feet and then make my way around this giant?
Yeah, they're fairly quiet as far as birds go. There are the occasional little squabbles and squawks, but you know, overall they're pretty light as they travel, and they're not the most vocal of birds either. Okay. So it seems like a reasonable thing to be able to do.
In that case, I would do that. Just try and make my way around this person.
All right.
Just for safety's sake.
For sure. And I need a quick stealth check from you.
Okay. Okay. 1 second here, just checking something here.
No problem.
Because I'm wearing heavy armor, I sometimes have disadvantage in these sort of checks. Would this be a stealth check for me or a stealth check for the axe beak, by the way?
I think it would be for both of you. So let's say don't take the disadvantage because you're riding the axe beak, and that kind of mitigates a bit of the plate movement.
So just straight up,
just a straight stealth, yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm right.
Bless for Earl.
20.
Ooh, big 20 and a bless for you, Earl. Love that. All right. Love to see it. This individual doesn't see you. You make it around. And in fact, as you're kind of coming around just out of its vision, you see it like kind of stop and look over in your direction. And then it just goes back to what it's doing. And it just keeps chopping trees down, putting them in this sled. And as you kind of move past it and it moves from beyond your vision, it doesn't pursue, it doesn't attack, nothing like that. over quickly to the rest of the party. Coming up across the tundra towards the eastway, fairly easygoing. It's the quick part of your journey. As you come across the actual eastway itself, you kind of come down this small ridge that goes down to the eastway itself, and in the middle of the road you see 4 brown bear cubs just sort of chilling out in the road, bumbling around, being bears, and 2 of them kind of turn around as you come over the ridge, and they just start walking towards you.
Oh, they're so cute.
I'd have to agree, but also where there are cubs, there is also at least a mother. And if I recall, brown bears will just kill you.
That's probably a fair estimate. Maybe we should try to maneuver away from them somehow. And she looks to Rumble. You're more one with nature than I am. Would you know how to deter them? Should I maybe throw some like dried beef over that way and we go this way? All right.
He's like nodding furiously, like, yeah, that's.
I love how we all have the same plan.
So she's just gonna take like some beef and dried beef, and she's going to drop it in the snow that way, so that way they can kind of hopefully smell it.
Yeah, and you do see like almost immediately once that sweet dried beef hits the Arctic air, their like noses all like kind of go up and like make a beeline over to that beef. But 2 of them like kind of are fighting over it a little bit, and kind of play fighting. It doesn't look like they're gonna hurt each other or anything, but the other 2 kind of look over to you and smell again and realize that you're the one that had the beef, and then they like just start bolting towards you. They're 40 feet, 30 feet, 20
She's
feet.
She's just gonna throw her pack, like her pack of food. She's just gonna throw it. She looks to Rumble. She goes, "We'll find something to eat, right? We'll be fine." And she's just gonna keep trucking the opposite way.
And the remaining 2 bears like kind of collide on top of this bag of dried beef, and then they're like kind of ripping it apart and getting at it. And as you're kind of using this beef distraction to make your way across the eastway, you see the mother and father bear kind of come up the opposing ridge, kind of the one that you're coming up, and they're looking down at you. And one of them, it's got a bit of a snarl kind of growing on its face, and the other one looks at you, looks back at the cubs, looks at the beef, and then in common says, "I am so sorry. They have no manners. Let me take care of this. I'm sorry. Did they bother you? Did they hurt you?"
Nope. They're just hungry.
Rumble's just floored at this. Like, what the fuck just happened?
Katsumi actually sits down on the sled, just like, "I'm sorry."
And this mama bear, you can tell by the voice, I guess, it kind of wanders by you and, "I'm terribly sorry," stops at each of you and like puts like just like a really heavy paw on like your leg or something. It's like, "I'm so sorry about this. I'm trying to teach them to be better, but they're just so, they're kids, you get it." And wanders
they're
by.
Just adorable.
I mean,
Well, thank you.
They're so cute.
And she kind of looks back to the other bear that's standing on top of the ridge, still with this kind of growl and like the lips kind of quivering a bit as if it doesn't trust you, and it like kind of does like a few like and the bear kind of relaxes its posture a bit and kind of walks perpendicular to you, like to get out of your way, and down the ridge, and the mom and the dad kind of go over and you assume chastise these kids, the cubs, for being so rude, and kind of ushering them away. And as they kind of
do that,
yeah,
like, Rumble is definitely going over to the cubs now that he knows they're friendly, and he would definitely be like kind of rolling around in the snow with them and like kind of play fighting with them.
All right,
not,
can you make
not
me
harshly, but just nicely,
Yeah. And they're super into it. It's almost like puppy dog energy. The moment that you're like making those sort of play movements, like they are locked in, and they're kind of swarming around you. And all of a sudden, like two of them kind of leap up, and they're just going to like tackle you, kind of thing. Make me a dex save, please.
Can I fail it deliberately? I just stand there and open my arms like, come on then.
Love it. Yeah, you get bowled over by these two bears, and these two little tiny cubs hit you both shoulders and rock your mighty frame directly onto your back, and they're kind of sniffing around and like pawing at you and making sure you're okay. There's no ill intent here. And again, that mama bear comes over and says, I cannot believe you, like, please stop. And she like goes over and like picks them up with her teeth by the scruff of the neck and kind of moves them over to the side of the road and like places them down.
It's fine. He loves this sort of thing.
Still, it's not great manners, but if you say it's okay, I suppose. And I'm
just gonna whisper to Vivian, like, are these so what are they called when they can take off their skin and be human? I forget. They're not silky, they're something else.
I don't know. I know what you're talking about, but I can't think of it either.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's really cool that we didn't get attacked though.
Yeah, I just learned something new. Sometimes animals can speak common.
Yeah. I mean, we're just gonna sit here and let Rumble play, and when he's done, we'll
head
out.
As soon as the mum starts kind of ushering him away, then he'll just kind of sit. When you like sit on your knees and your shins, and you kind of just like sat on your ass on the back of your feet, kind of thing. And he's just gonna look at them, and he just kind of just nod his head in respect to him, kind of thing. Let him walk away and stuff.
And it kind of takes a moment and eyes you down. It's looking around. There's no obvious like danger here, and just kind of begrudgingly gives you a little bit of a nod back and turns around and starts leading the cubs off the other side of the road and into the tundra that you just traveled through.
He's a good dad bear. He's good.
And now they've got snacks.
Yeah.
And as you look back, that sack is just like ripped open. There's no more meat. Like it's totally used up.
She is going to take the sack, so maybe later when we have time, Katumi can mend it.
Yep. I mean, we're just walking along in the middle of nothing. I'll just, as we're walking, let's just start mending the bag.
Okay. And you finish your crossing of the Eastway and cut out across the tundra, where you can see now kind of the hilly kind of tundra in front of you. That it's a lot more kind of up and down than the route Earl's going to take, and it leads even into like small foothills that off in the distance you can see the singular mountain that sits in this tundra, Kelvin's Cairn, and that kind of shows the center of the Dwarven Valley, where the local dwarves in Icewind Dale live for the most part. And moving through this, it's a bit more slow going, but coming over Kelvin's Cairn, you can see a fairly large clouds, pretty angry, looking like it's starting to kind of form. It looks like, not anytime soon, but some point today there might be a blizzard.
You said we're coming down a downslope now, are we?
Yeah, kind of coming up and then down the ridge on the other side of the Eastway itself.
Okay, so I grabbed the ski cart and I gesture for Vivian and Katumi to get on it. And I'm going to stand at the back where the person would stand for it. And I'm just going to give us a little gentle nudge off the edge of the hill and try and sled us down, essentially.
All right. I trust you.
I'm just using my foot at the back as steering and stuff.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm using my foot as like a not a rotor. What's the thing at the back of a boat? A rudder. I'm using it as like a rudder to just kind of give us the balance we need in the steer.
I love that. Okay. And give me I want to say this is an athletics check. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Okay. Can I argue for acrobatics?
Yeah, if you can tell me how you're doing this acrobatically.
Well, I imagine it like a downslope skier, so I'm gonna, like
okay, kind of low center of gravity.
Yeah,
over there. Okay, yeah, I love that. Yeah, give me acrobatics on that.
probably still gonna be terrible, but still. 20, 30, 20.
Dirty 20. That's amazing. Oh man,
It's almost like I've done this before.
Yeah. Oh yeah, carrying your your passengers and cargo, just doing a fun little downhill slope with your friends and down into the tundra. Maybe saves you a few minutes, but I think the most important thing is that we had fun doing it.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That's such like a fun picture.
And on the front, like,
please, some fan art of this.
Yeah.
But going to maybe a bit more of a dour situation, Earl. As you've kind of made your way across the tundra, either than that run-in with that giant you correctly assumed, it's been pretty quiet. The skies are clear. There haven't really been any predators coming across the side of the tundra yet, anyway. And you kind of come over to a section of land that kind of borders the Shengarn River, this kind of forked river that leads from Mer Dwalden, which is near kind of Bremen and Targos, feeds across the tundra and splits off in a couple directions. And you're right near the middle of it, and there's this big expanse of just like flat snow in front of you, and looking like very accurately like some mighty force threw it to the ground. You see this pirate ship. Ooh. 2 masts. Most of the sails are tattered and frayed and totally useless. The deck is blown open in some parts, and actually you can see there's a large hole in the hull that you could just like walk right into. You don't even need to scale to get into this thing. It's pretty quiet. Like, give me a perception check real quick.
17.
Yeah. It's pretty clear conditions. You can survey the area very well, and there doesn't appear to be any other creatures, humanoid or otherwise, hanging around here. It's just you and this ship.
Okay. In that case, I would dismount from the axe beak, wander over to the ship, and then just check I have this. Yes, I would then take out my crowbar and then attempt to crowbar off one of the more like weather-worn planks or pieces of wood off this ship.
Yeah, plenty of holes and crannies for you to kind of wedge that thing in there. No problem. Give me a strength check, I guess, just straight strength.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, would this be allow me to use the advantage in strength checks, which applies whenever using a crowbar?
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Darn, not with advantage, just a 10. Straight up.
A 10 is sufficient. There is just this like, it just like cracks and like just almost shatters at one end of this plank, but it kind of comes off, lands on the ground beside you, and as you're kind of looking at it on the ground, you feel the wind is beginning to pick up a little bit, and it's kind of moving through this ship in such a way that it's like almost like whistling and howling, and I'm gonna need another perception check.
Yeah, I would make one anyway because I've just made a racket. But okay, darn. 5.
Yeah, no, you don't hear or see anything out of the ordinary except for this like very sudden wind and this kind of almost like increasing in volume whistling and howling of wind that's occurring around the ship right now.
Okay. Is there now a hole in the middle of the ship?
Yeah, you've managed to, like, there's a section of the hull on the bottom side that you're able to kind of manipulate and just kind of pry that last board loose to make a U-sized hole in the hull.
Okay, I would just take a quick peek through because only human.
For sure. Quick peek through. So what you're looking at?
I do have dark vision, by the way.
Perfect. 60 feet.
60 feet too.
Yeah, which will be more than enough to see this kind of central room that you're in. It's the hold of the ship. You can see on either end there are these kind of broken, frozen, almost like rotted stairs leading up to the deck above. You can see that amidst like big heaps of snow that have just found their way in here, there are 4 tied down like canoes almost in here, kind of covered in this icy rime, and the forward starboard corner there's a large pile of what just looks like loose treasure, like coins and items. You can't really get a great look at it because it's kind of covered in ice and snow and you'd have to dig around.
Okay.
And I need another perception check, in fact.
Gotcha. Okay.
The boat is a mimic.
Much better this time. 22.
Okay. From if you go in and look down to the left towards that set of stairs, there is a.
I wouldn't be going in. I would just be.
Yeah, I knew you were outside. Sorry, I should have said that better. It was just like if you were to. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right.
No problem. And yeah, kind of off down to that left-hand staircase that goes up. There is a door that has been shut and chained over like many times and like barricaded, and you can hear from beyond it just faintly this growling coming from the inside of that room.
Okay, I'm okay. In that case, I once again leave, and one last thing before I go.
Yeah.
I will just make a quick. I'm guessing maybe like I would make a quick check to see if I can spot the name of this ship anywhere on the hull.
Okay.
Would that be like perception?
I guess it'd be an investigation.
Investigation. Yeah, I thought so. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. I'm not very good at this, but I'm still gonna have a go. Oh. 20.
Dang. Yeah, it is plain to see. You kind of walk around to the other side of the ship, and across the side of the hull you see the words Dark Duchess.
Very good. Okay. I will then walk back to my axe beak and get on and ride away again.
Love that. Coming away from this area, taking a few hours to kind of cut back towards the direction Targos and Bryn Shander. I'm going to need 2 more d20s from you, please.
From me?
Yes.
Gotcha. 6 and 11.
6 and 11. You lucky son of a gun. The rest of this swath of land, apparently there's no mean nasties out. There's no one out to bother you, out to harass you or eat you. You make very good time cutting across on your axe beak, making it to the road, kind of between Bryn and Targos, cutting across to the road up to Tourmaline, where actually you do kind of cross paths with the party as they're kind of coming up the tundra. It is very, very flat on kind of this upper side of Mare Dualden as well, and you can see them across the tundra. And it looks like you're going to arrive at roughly the same time, unless you want to win the race and just go straight to Tourmaline.
So I could, like, cut across or something?
Yeah, you could cut across. They don't look very far off the main stretch here. It would take you like 10 minutes to get over to them, maybe.
I guess I would ride on over to them. Yeah.
And once again, our party is reunited. Everyone else, after your fun little sledding adventure and your few hours trek across the otherwise pretty boring tundra, this kind of just constant up and down, and from off to the west, you see Aiden riding in. Sorry, not Aiden. Sorry, you see Earl. Sorry, Axel just messaged me. You see Earl riding his Axebeak in your direction. Before long, he is back with you. And yeah, the four of you are reunited.
Once he gets to us, Rumble is just gonna start like reenacting the bear encounter. So he's just like, like as if he's a bear and stuff, and like rolling around. And he's like, and then thumbs up.
Well, Vivian's going to literally watch all this in like the most intrigued way, and then she's going to look to Earl as soon as Rumble's done, say, "We encountered bears. He tumbled with them, and then we walked away."
She's leaving out the best part. They spoke common.
Oh, yes, that too.
Could I make a quick check about that? See if I know anything?
Yeah, I could make either a history or an arcana check.
Okay, I'll do history.
Okay.
11.
Okay. This is fairly common knowledge, especially now. So I think an 11 does it. There is a group of frost druids that live in and around the 10 towns, mostly keep to themselves, that for one reason or another have started awakening animals. Using the awaken spell, it basically grants animals of a certain intelligence like full-on sentience and the ability to speak. And it's been happening more and more, especially over the last 6 months or so, I would say. But yeah, this might be the first time you've ever come across one.
Good tricks.
But yeah.
Okay. I will report that I did in fact find the ship, and I will mention that I did find some information out. But I will also ask if they want me to share it now or when we get to the town.
I mean, we have a little bit of time till we get to the town. I would love to hear of your adventure.
It was quite simple. I went to the area on the map, and there was a ship there. It was called the Dark Duchess, written upon her prow. I'm gonna take the plank out and show them. I took this from the ship, just for proof. As you can see, quite
Physical ship.
the whole physical ship. Yes.
I mean, you were able to remove a plank. Is it what was the condition of it?
What was the condition of it?
So yeah, largely like this thing probably just showed up, like by all logical accounts, but it looked like it had been there for some time. Like there were a lot of holes in the hulls, the sails were all torn, like it was just covered in rime, like starting to break apart. Pretty bad shape.
So whatever happened to this ship before it landed in the middle of a forest was not great.
Sure. There was also treasure inside. I did notice that as well. Or at least whatever their cargo had been was still there. It seemed sizable, but I did not make a thorough investigation. I simply glanced inside.
Fair enough. Never know if anything could still be there. You are a very good fighter, but I don't know if you're equipped to handle ghosts. That's the only thing I could think of could be on a ship like that at this point.
There were also growling sounds with him, so there probably was something there.
Oh. Well, I'm glad you're back and safe and sound.
Thank you.
Can I so on my slate, I'm actually going to write a message to Earl as I'm kind of got the braces over my shoulders and just walking along, and then just going to put, can you make the sound?
I'll give it a go. I'll do, I guess, a performance check.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Okay. I get a -1. thanks to my -2. I make a very bad impression of the sounds.
So Rumble just writes, could be a dragon. Just hold it up. No idea.
I love that. -1s are rare. Okay.
For a very good reason.
Yeah, oh, for sure. Bad. Well, I guess like now that you've kind of reunited, you could kind of take this time to actually like have a meal and short rest if you'd like, or if you just want to keep pushing on Tourmaline, we can do that as well.
Oh, we're fairly close now, right? We're
Yeah.
An hour?
Yeah, hour or two.
I'd say kind of push on and get there so that we can relax there, I guess.
Love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And yeah, it doesn't take that long. It does take like, hour and a half or so to get in there, and you make it to Tourmaline, which is pretty widely regarded as like the most sort of picturesque town in the Dale. It spreads out from the shore of this lake Mer Dualden, and it's bordered on the north and kind of the west by this tall pine forest named after a neighboring town called the Lonelywood. The buildings here are also like just beautifully carved. It's kind of reminds you of Good Mead, but it's a very different style. It's carvings of like wizards and tigers and strange creatures. Could everyone give me just like I guess a history check would do? Okay. 11, 13, 21, and 8. There are a few creatures in here that like you all recognize. There are like carvings of like pixies and what look like strange like fey dogs almost, and there are others that Katumi and Vivian you catch. There are djinn carved into these, and like homunculi and like strange, just like creatures you would not ever see in the Dale ever. And this kind of heralds back to the settlers of the town. With that history check, you know that it was kind of founded by these Kalishite settlers and had this very big appreciation for the arcane and beauty. And you can see this kind of reflected in the architecture of the town. Kind of contrasting this very picturesque sort of vibe that the town is giving off. The wind in here is just brutal. It is blowing with full force, sloping down from Kelvin's Cairn in the foothills, going through the town, shearing through like layers of clothing. And this wind, as you would all be kind of at least vaguely aware, this wind is like almost a near constant thing that the people of Tourmaline have to deal with. But other than that, very, very friendly, beautiful town. What is the plan, my friends?
Well, I know first thing I want to do, just so I can make sure that it gets done, is to drop off the mead.
Yeah.
And it is destined. Sorry, Core would have told you it's headed for the Blue Clam Tavern.
Blue Clam. Okay.
And I'll go with you if you don't mind.
No, not at all. I love having company.
And she's going to kind of keep an eye out for the guy that we're looking for, the caravan. The shape guy on our travel through the town.
Is everyone joining along for that, or Rumble, Earl? Do you have other things you'd like to do, having just arrived?
No, I stick with the party.
I would join along, yeah.
All right. So we're about halfway through now. I thought that Axel had sent me a message earlier, but it was someone else with an AX beginning on their username. So I guess let's take a quick break here, and we'll come back with the last half. I'll reach out to him and see if he'll be with us. If not, we'll just carry on the four of us, or I guess five, because I'm here too. All right. So yeah, folks, we'll see you in a few minutes, and yeah, look forward to it.
Waystar systems activated.
Welcome aboard the starship Waystar, Captain. Plasma engines are primed, probability torpedoes are armed, and the Kickstarter campaign is locked and loaded. As the primary commander of this vessel, the only thing missing is your authorization. With a core rulebook, creature codex, adventure setting, campaign module, and a host of additional assets, we're at full power. Please say the word and we'll neutralize the enemy. Enter authorization codes and confirm weapons deployment. See you among the stars, Captain. Orbital Control Defense Operations, out.
Hey there, everyone. Welcome back. We are here, second half of Rime with Frostmaiden. Let's get right back to it. Our party has just arrived in the town of Tourmaline. Very beautiful, picturesque little town settled along the northern shore of Mare Dwalden, one of the big three lakes in Icewind Dale. Very, very chilly here. This almost constant wind blowing through, but other than that, sort of just constant annoyance, this blowing cold air coming kind of almost right through your clothes. It's a very, very pleasant little town to be in. Heading down the sort of main drag almost along the northern end, kind of bordering the Lonelywood and kind of the beginnings of the town, you make your way down to the Blue Clam Tavern. And the Blue Clam is much like the other buildings in this town, just beautifully shaped. And you can see that this one is adorned with all sorts of different fish and boats and sort of nautical themes. And stepping your way through, it is very, very busy in here. It is very loud almost immediately. It is like as soon as you open the door, just merriment and conversation, just the sound of just many people gathered washes over you, and you kind of make your way in. Beautiful works of scrimshaw are sort of hung on the walls, these sort of carved whalebone art pieces that are shaped into different sort of geographical, like little maps and little like dioramas almost, but also like of creatures and people, and you can smell on the air this like spiced chowder, this like seafood chowder smell. It's just like it's hitting you in all the right gut places after this long trip, and it's a little rowdy in here. You see in this town, if this is a good sample to take from, a lot of dwarves here as well, which makes sense because of its proximity to the Dwarven Valley. Few dragonborn here, mostly white scaled, but you do see one in the back that is black scaled that is kind of sitting with a few friends and just having a good time. There is quite a few half elves here, and not so many humans. Up at the kind of front, You can see where the bar is. There's just kind of this open cooking area that's kind of been merged in with the booze drinking area, which is probably not the safest thing considering they're working with open flame, but that's how they have it. And this guy wearing this half orc, very big, burly, wearing a like kind of chef's apron and like a little hat, is kind of going from one end of the bar, refilling drinks and giving these like big bowls of stew out. Like it looks like it would be enough for like 2-3 meals, and he's charging, it looks like 2 silver. It's a bit of a steal, and you know that everyone here is just like very happy, kind of laughing. You can see that this half orc who's tending bar, he's just kind of laughing along with the other patrons there, and it's just like a neat little spot you've found.
Would there have been a place outside to have put the sled?
Oh yeah, most certainly there would have been like a stable area where you could have put both the sled and Earl's Axbeak.
Okay, perfect. That's fine then.
Yeah, I'm just gonna walk in with the cask of mead and acclimate to the atmosphere and just kind of drop the mead, not next to the fire, but like where the other half orc can see it, and just go, your shipment from Core, just in case you happen to be running low.
He just kind of stops what he's doing, looks over at you, gives you a bit of a nod, looks at your cask, and he's like, "Good news, boys! The ale's not running low anymore." And there is a cheer that sounds out across this bar as you become aware that he is like pouring the last little bit of a cask out into this last mug, and pretty much everyone around the bar comes in to like high five you and give you like hugs, and they're all very happy that the ale is here. And he says, I don't believe we've met. My name's Vernon." He kind of extends a hand to you.
Katami cleaves on it for the first time. She doesn't look at the hand before she shakes it. She just grabs it.
Yeah, it's just a good-natured handshake. He says, "Did Core pay you for this? Are you all settled up, or
Yep,
do I owe you something?"
we're squared. No worries.
Well, I mean, if I made the trip out, it's not a short trip. Can I interest you in some food, something to drink, anything?
Your stew smells divine. And we are a little bit hungry, and we did lose a good portion of our food to some oddly friendly brown bears, so we would love a good meal.
Yeah, they'll leave you alone if you toss them some meat or something. Glad to see you weren't hurt. But yeah, no, there should be. And he kind of looks over, and there's like a table that hasn't been bussed yet. There's like dirty dishes and like mugs, and just like it's still a bit of a sty. He's like, give me just a moment. I'll get over there. I'll clean that table, and that one's all yours. There's 4 of you, yeah?
Yep.
All right, it's all in the house. No worries. Thank you very much for bringing this.
Thank you. Not a problem at all.
And kind of soldiers off and busses the table, cleans it up a little bit so that you're not sitting down in someone else's after meal. And yeah, he comes back a couple moments later with just huge, like to Rumble maybe like a regular sized bowl, but for everyone else, like he sets these things down on the table, and you're like this is this smells delicious, but I don't know if I can finish this. And he comes back with a mug of ale for each of you and some water he puts in the center of the table. Says, "If there's anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask."
Well, thank you very much.
Since we walked into this building, Rumble was like literally just been like sniffing the air, like, "Oh, it smells real good." And then when it gets put in front of him, it's just like, obviously, like you said, a normal sized bowl to him, so he's just gonna pick it up and just drink it. He's just drinking it straight out of the bowl and chewing, and there's no spoon or anything.
Oh, I love that. And as you're kind of chowing down here after delivering the ale, there is you hear a couple things, couple rumors, maybe a couple little tall tales, but there's a gang of half elves that are sitting nearby, and they're talking about this trouble that Tourmaline's been having at their local gem mine. Apparently, a gang of kobolds crept into it and endangered some of the miners that were working there, and they're causing a bit of a problem right now. And then someone else, kind of talking quite loudly by the bar, is talking about this white moose that's been spotted in the forest, and it's been attacking loggers and trappers on site, and like it has killed quite a few people, and they're talking about what to do about that. And yeah, you're hearing these things as you're eating and kind of chatting, and I guess what is the next move for y'all?
With any of these things that we're hearing, do we happen to hear about the caravan coming into town?
Yeah, I suppose you would. It is a bit of an event, Torg showing up, because they got some cool stuff, and people are into that. Yeah, you probably would hear that they arrived just overnight, kind of in the early hours of the morning, and have set up, and they're doing business now, sort of in the southern end of the docks.
Okay.
If the barman, if he comes back over again at any point, Rumba's just going to quickly write on his slate, I can't say the name. IR Minotaur, and just show it to him.
And
see if he recognizes it at all.
I'm going to have him roll for it, because he might. Dun, dun, dun.
This would be the kind of establishment he would be seen in, so.
Yeah. All right. It's like, yeah, Goliath fellow can turn into a polar bear, right?
And he's nodding and puts his thumb up.
Yeah, no, he was by these parts recently. Said he had thrown in with some locals that wanted to go up to Kelvin's cairn, to the mountain. I haven't seen him since, but yeah, that was just day before yesterday.
Okay, so he will look to the group and just quickly scribble, can we check for him?
Of course.
Yeah.
And he's just like sitting there kind of now contemplating what he needs to do, kind of thing.
Was that something you wanted to do now? Or did you want to hold off and see if maybe he came back into town?
He'll write down like we can ask around town, and then if not, maybe tomorrow after we sleep.
Okay.
Because I'm guessing it's getting quite late now because we were traveling for like pretty much all day and stuff.
Yeah, no, it is. It's never light out in the Dale, but it is getting to that sort of darker time of day. The stars have been out, and the aurora has been out since this morning, and it's just kind of this constant thing. But yeah, it is at the time of day where it is starting to fade a little bit, though not gone entirely. So it is still probably 5 or 6 p.m. anyway.
Okay.
I think I want to go check out Torg's place, but I need to do it. I need to change first, just in case he recognizes me. I'd like to put on a bit more face coverings so he doesn't see my face. And it's super windy here, so it's not like unheard of.
Right.
So you kind of cover up from the chillblains, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Big old furry hood, like a white, like sort of burqa mask to go with the rest of my coat, and then even like gloves. Like very little of my self is showing. I mean, obviously I'm still a big old half orc, but there's plenty of those walking around. So I'm not going to say anything to him if I see him. I just want to scope the place out.
Rumble ahead with you, for sure.
Vivian will go too. She's pretty good at scoping.
Is El coming, or is he staying for his food and mead?
I'll come along, sure.
More than able to go do that. You would also remember that Quinn had said that you would be granted permission to see the body of the person who was murdered here if you wanted to do that. But if we wanted to go to Torx first, we are certainly able to do so.
Well, hopefully the body isn't going anywhere.
Yeah, you'd hope so.
If it does decide to get up, then we have a problem.
Yes,
If it gets up, we call John and Arya Snow. Or Stark.
And I guess when I get there, the first thing I'm going to want to do is like do an Arcana check to see if maybe I can't feel out this crazy ice knife.
Okay.
Was it outside or was it in a building?
Well, the actual murder itself was outside, but the body and the knife, you would be aware, are being kept in kind of the basement of the speaker's palace, sort of thing. That's where they have their holding cells.
Okay, I was under the impression that the murderer still had the knife with them.
Oh, okay. Well, see, the knives were left behind in all cases, but if they had those, it's more than likely that there would be another. Yeah, I don't like to say no, but I don't think that an Arcana check just like here in the tavern is going to suss it out. Like that would be more along the lines of like a detect magic spell or something like that.
Okay. Well, that is fair. Then yeah, I mean, everybody who works for Torg is a little bit shady, but see if there's anybody who's a bit more shady than others.
Yeah, and it takes only a few minutes. Tourmaline's not, the biggest city of the biggest town, I should say, and it takes you just a few minutes to get down to the kind of southern end of the docks, and you see where Torx Caravan is set up. It's 3 like heavily packed dog sleds. You can see like 3 different packs of 6 sled dogs that are kind of just camped out and guarding the area. One of the sleds carries provisions. You can see like bags of like food and like building materials. That one is flying a flag bearing the company emblem, which is the sort of gold wolf's paw on a black field. And the other 2 sleds transport, most of their goods for sale, basic adventuring supplies, but also one of the sleds is like magic items and weapons and things of that nature. It's all kind of set out in this outdoor market in this semicircle, and you can see a few people there. There are a few dwarves hanging around. You can see a gnome that from a distance looks like they're bossing everyone around. And there's a couple humans that work here. Could you all give me investigation check as you get closer?
All of us?
Yes.
14.
10.
14, 10, 14. 18.
Nice.
Very nice. Yeah, you're kind of taking this all in, and there are quite a few people, residents of Tourmaline, that are here shopping, and it is a bit of a messy, busy area. Vivian, as you kind of get a little bit closer, you see from behind one of the wagons there is a Well, look like he could be half elf, but he looks more human. This man looks to be about in his 30s with this olive complexion and dark hair that's sort of pulled back in a ponytail. Would be rather plain looking, except the thing that like kind of tips you off is he's like just wearing a vest, like no undershirt. He's got like some matching light pants, and like it is brutally cold with the wind here in Termly, and he just does not seem bothered by it. And you only see him for a moment. You could have sworn he was keeping an eye on you before he kind of ducked back behind the wagon.
Okay. I'm going to assume Rumble would probably maybe be the closest, or Katumi. So she's gonna kind of tug on Rumble's fur and kind of like point out where she saw him, and she's gonna say, should I maybe follow him?
And they'll just nod.
Okay. So she's going to try to stealthily like move behind Rumble so she can kind of gain some out of vision for the guy. And
Sure.
then she's going to try to stealthily go and see if she can find him to maybe talk to him.
Love that. Okay. Why don't you go ahead and are you trying to approach unseen or just catch up? Sorry.
Kind of unseen, not necessarily like, I don't know how to put it. I'll probably have to roll stealth, but so she's trying to go up unseen so that way he can't run away from her. But she doesn't want to like give him a heart attack when she does, tap him on the shoulder.
Sure.
As she's like trying to dip away, Rumble will just kind of, that's like wherever she is to him, like just kind of touch her and give her guidance.
Ooh. All right. So you want that stealth, right?
Yes, please.
And I'm going to go ahead and roll that D4 if I can find it on my...
Oh, and I'm going to use one of my blessings too, because why not? I've got a few racked up.
But you actually do have a bless as well, Brandy, so you could use it on top of it.
All right.
Guidance and a bless are two different things.
Okay.
Sorry, Craig, but I got to get
out. No, I get it. We'll all use two blesses.
So is that a D4 as well?
Yes.
All right.
Use your bless from chat.
All right. So that's 2 more added on there.
So 18 total?
18 altogether. All right.
Can I also ask actually for Vivian to do a perception check? Is it okay for me to do this?
Yeah. This feels weird, but I love it.
Oh, that's a 5.
Okay. Because guidance is verbal, and I was just checking to see if you actually heard him or not. And you did not.
Oh. All right.
Had a lot of practice softly speaking.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, you kind of make your way around the crowd and the caravan kind of off in this direction, and you see him slip between 2 buildings into an alley and start to like get a bit of a jog going. Like he's not running per se, but he's power walking, I guess. And you see him kind of round a corner, and you're able to keep pace, and somehow you get into this alley and he doesn't notice you, and you see him fiddling with the door of a locked building, and he drops his keys. He's gone over to like pick them up in the snow, and does not notice you.
Okay. So as he goes to pick them up, she'll kind of stand up behind him, looking, scary or whatever. And luminous. And she'll kind of just tap him like on the hip area as he's been over facing away from her. Excuse me.
It's gonna go one of two ways. His elbow comes back so quick to like connect with your torso. Can you give me a dex save?
Oh, that is a 13.
All right. And you manage to get a step back as that elbow comes back, and he swings around, and you see his eyes for the first time, and they are just this piercing icy blue, and he holds a hand out, like almost putting his hand on your shoulder to like put some distance between you. He's like, why are you following me? What are you up to?
Well, I just noticed you. You definitely look a little not well dressed. I didn't know if maybe you needed a cloak or something. Maybe you're cold. It's a little chilly for just a vest.
And he kind of brings his guard down a little bit. That arm kind of slowly bends and kind of goes back down to his side. He says, look, you really shouldn't be sneaking up on people like that. One never knows what one's going to do if you do that.
Oh, I just figured you would have heard me. You know, this cloak sloshing through the snow.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm distracted, but no, I don't need any clothing. Thank you. I'm quite fine as I am.
Okay. Would she notice anything upon a closer look of this individual?
Ooh, give me an investigation check.
Ooh, nat 20. So
Damn. Okay. As he whirled around, his vest kind of lifted off his otherwise bare chest for just a moment, and you just for a fraction of a second saw there is frostbite that he has kind of in between the pec and the shoulder, kind of in that meaty area right there, and it is in the shape of like a very geometric 6-pointed snowflake. And it's like, it almost looks like a brand, but it's frostbite, and you would recognize this as Oral, the Frostmaiden's like holy symbol.
Oh, all right. Unlike the player, she does not show any any sign of recognition. Okay. Do you need help, with your keys or anything? You dropped them.
Kind of very quickly picks them back up and kind of snaps back up and says, no, I'm quite fine, thank you. Now, I don't mean to be rude, but you could please just leave me alone.
Oh, well, if that's what you want, that's what
yes,
it'll be.
I desire it deeply.
And she's going to walk back to the party and let them know the information, and that Earl's people are here. Earl's, I cannot pronounce that very well. But
all right.
The rib.
While Vivian has been off doing this, what are the rest of you doing at Torx?
I am just inspecting the wares, and since my face is covered, like, you can't really see how disgusted I am because they're nowhere near as good as my dad's, and it's just like, he's just out here ripping these people off, and I can't say anything because I don't break my cover. It's just, internally, she's just going off on like a long monologue about this whole thing and how she's just super irritated, and she just really hopes that Torg knows about what's happening so she can take him down and save everyone, but especially her dad.
Oh, Rumble were right on his slate to Katumi. Do you want me to do anything? Like, as in go up to him or do anything?
No, not yet. We need to make sure that we know everything before we confront him. He's oily.
He thinks he understands, but maybe he doesn't quite. So he's just nodding.
He's slick.
Yeah. Yeah. You mean I shouldn't grab him, right? Okay. So yeah, and then he'll write plan ?
Well, when Vivian gets back, we'll go take a look at that body, or hopefully we'll be able to speak more plainly.
And what about Earl? What's Earl up to at this point?
I guess I would be going over to inspect. You said they were selling magic items?
Yeah,
I'd go
they've
over
got some
and
trinkets
inspect
if you
that.
want to peruse their wares.
Okay.
Yeah, so it is for the most part standard fare. However, do you roll me 3d100, please?
Understood.
There are a few things that stand out to you.
47, 26, 25.
47, 26, 25. Okay. 26 and 25. Yeah, there's a series of potions that actually seem like quite potent. There is a potion of clairvoyance up for sale. There is I just had it. Potion of growth, which gives you the enlarge effects of the enlarge reduce spell. There is also a potion of polymorph. The first two are selling for about 100 gold pieces. The last of which is selling for 4.
Okay. Well, I don't have too much gold on me anyway right now, so in that case, I think I would just return to the rest of the party.
And yeah, again, they do have sort of your general supplies and stuff too. So if anyone needs like arrows or anything like that, or pitons or wood or rations or anything like they've got all your other needs there. But if everyone else is good, around this time, Vivian will swing back into the main thoroughfare there, and Vivian, yeah, you're up.
All right, so she'd come back and she'd say, well, I found him. We should be very careful because I think the people of Uriel, and she whispers it like super low. Sorry, I shouldn't have whispered it on camera, but so she whispers super low, the people of Uriel are here. She goes, when we have time to be a little more discreet, I will explain what I found. But he was not a very happy camper that I got the best of him, I guess. So what have we found out here?
At the sound of you saying about Oriel, probably the first real sound you've heard from Rumble is he'll just give this little growl, like, I'm not happy about that kind of thing.
When you do that, she'll react to you, but not skipping a beat in her like speech that she's skipping.
While I'm out here doing my thing, I actually at any point see Torg?
Yes, the little gnome who's kind of going from here to there, kind of yelling at people and bossing them around, wearing this very, very cheesy like suit. Like it looks
easy to
like
spot.
Very, very sleazy, easy to spot, like checkered pants, the whole nine, like very, very grimy looking gnome. It's kind of going about and correcting people. It's like, no, you're undercharging them. It's more than that. And he kind of looks over towards you and doesn't recognize you, but kind of sees the group of you standing together and says, can I help you folks?
Actually, about to speak and then realizes she probably shouldn't. She's gonna look to Vivian.
Oh, not today. We were just looking upon your wares at the moment. We have a meeting here in about 5 minutes that we should be getting to across town. We'll come back and maybe see you.
Okay. And kind of looks you up and down, gives you a bit of a look like, it's a weird thing to say. Turns around and goes back to berating his employees.
Where they're, so it's like a market stall kind of thing, is it?
Yeah, it's like a series of sleds and kind of very easily put together like little stalls. They've created a little open air market for themselves here.
Okay. And do they have like watching them for a minute and seeing like when they're dealing with customers and stuff that way? Do they have like essentially like a money pot? So like, you know, what we would consider like a cash register kind of thing, or like a money tin. Would they have anything like that for the exchange of gold?
I suppose there would be. Yeah, I guess, yeah, each of the stalls that are set up would have their own sort of small money exchange receptacle, yeah.
Okay. So Katumi's not keen on this person, and Rumble likes these guys. So I'm gonna kind of get a little bit closer, but just, you know, not too obvious. And I'm gonna wait for the absolute opportune moment, and I'm gonna go invisible. And I'm gonna walk up, grab the money tin, and walk away. They upset my friend, and I don't like that.
I love that. Oh, that's super fun. Okay. Yeah, give me you're invisible, so give me a stealth check at advantage, please.
Please fucking I'm gonna give myself guidance as well. 17. Oh, it's 21 plus 2, so 23. Please God, nobody see me.
I don't believe it. So the rest of you see Rumble go invisible, and then the closest little money pot to him just starts floating up in the air. And then I guess, like, because you could do that, like you put it like beneath like a piece of clothing or something, it just like disappears. And before long, I suppose Rumble is standing behind you again, kind of holding something in his jacket or whatever.
So he's just gonna tap Katumi on the shoulder and like give her the pot, but like giving it to her, trying to get her to put it under her jacket or something that she's got. And he's just like, there you go. And then just smiles and just stands there.
Vivian, being the rogue that she is, realizes what he's done, and she says, Katumi, hide that.
Into the ridiculous bag of holding that still smells like old meat. Because I still haven't figured out how to wash it yet, because it's a bag of holding. Like, how much soap am I supposed to use for this?
Just hold it under a waterfall and just let it fill up.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah, and then just start to wander off, I guess.
All right. I won't make you count that later. You come away from that 532 gold pieces richer.
Oh my god. Right, we'll split that later.
That worked out for us.
Oh no.
I'm not even mad.
I'm no, me neither.
Don't upset my friends.
Yeah, no, I get it. Hey, yeah, he had it coming if you ask me. All right.
It's kind of rude to his workers too, so.
Right.
Yeah, maybe they'll revolt and kill him.
Maybe. Who knows? That's I'm gonna make a quick note actually.
Oh. You got less to me.
Just with a question mark. We'll think about that later. All right.
Worse, they'll unionize.
Oh no.
That's how you get back at him. You go back as a union rep.
Oh, I love that. Oh, Torx Union Force. Okay. Moving away from the caravan, unless you're going to further rob them blind, which I would love to see.
I only last a minute, so I was in and out. Like, that's it.
Sure.
Oh, we're not trying to get caught. We just got here. Not saying, you know, if you want to try again tomorrow, but right now.
Rumble's already planning now, having heard that.
I have a feeling that the money won't be so quite out in the open tomorrow. But
Yeah.
we'll see. The town hall / speaker's residence is just sort of northeast of where you are, kind of right in the center of the city, not too far away from the markets or the Blue Clam. Getting in there, it's not really an issue. You get in, there's a younger tiefling, this female tiefling with sort of shock red hair, kind of cut short around the ears, and like a pretty muscular build on her. It looks like she might be some sort of soldier when she's not doing this. It is currently like sat behind a desk looking very bored, and kind of looks up from her papers and says, yes, can I help you?
Yes, we're here about the body.
The one from the mine or the murder?
I mean, the murder, but we could also take a look at the mine's body if you're willing.
And she kind of takes a moment, holds a hand up, looks through her notes really quick. Right, you're the ones that Hlyn sent. Well, I can certainly allow you access, supervised access, mind you, to the body of the gentleman who was murdered here. The one from the mine, I mean, it's kind of weird. I don't get a lot of people coming in here to just ask to see bodies. Are you investigating? Is that what's going on here?
Yes, I'm so sorry. Allow me to introduce myself and my companions. My name is Katumi Cleavestone.
You see a moment of recognition just kind of cross the eye. Huh?
Right. My face is still completely covered. I completely forgot.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to kind of pull that off so she can see me.
She like just for a minute sort of fangirls a little bit, and it's like kind of the hands go up and kind of clenched fists, and then like very quickly collects herself again and says, Miss Cleavestone, my great pleasure to meet you, and your companions here.
Vivian, Earl, and Lord of Mercy, hold on, I have to sneeze. Someone else introduce him.
And Rumble Muffin.
Says, well, yeah, I can certainly take you down to the body. It's not great in there. Like I would steel yourselves a little bit. It's a bit of a mess. We've done what we can to sort of clean it up, but you'll see. She kind of gets up from her desk and leads you over to a door that leads to a stairwell into the basement. You're brought down. You can see a couple holding cells and then a couple more secure rooms. She unlocks one of the doors and brings you in. And there is this, what used to be a dwarven man and is now more just a collection of severed limbs. The hands and feet have been carved off, and like sections of chest flesh and like the skin around the neck and the face has kind of been peeled a bit, and like someone just went to town on this. And you can see in where the torso is placed on this sort of slab that there is a very large stab wound in the center as well. Laying on a side table, kind of on an opposite end of the room, you can see the aforementioned knife, the murder weapon, which has been cataloged and placed off to the side for now. it hasn't been like cleaned in any way. There's still like a fair amount of blood on it, and that blade is indeed made of ice, as has been described. But like even in here, like where there's fires going to keep this building warm, like it is remaining frozen. It has not melted yet.
There's a heat, a rage in Katsumi, and she, as calmly and like as even toned as she can, just, do we know if this poor soul was mutilated before or after he died?
I mean, I'm no expert, but if I had to guess, probably a bit of both. I imagine at a certain point the body would just shut down. Certainly someone couldn't have survived all of this and still been alive, right?
Of course. And I'm just gonna go over and see what I can see.
Can you give me an investigation check?
Sure thing. Hopefully this one's better than the last one.
Guidance.
Ooh, what do I add to that?
D4.
Thank you. 23.
Very nice. The 23. How touchy are you being with this body? Are you moving, manipulating, or are you just looking?
At first I'm just looking, and then I apologize, and then I kind of get in there.
All right. Because at first just looking at it, there's not too much to be seen, but do you notice something? There's this weird cut on the forearm that's been like removed from the hand and the upper arm. It's like you recognize it. It's a letter, and it's. What languages do you speak?
Ooh, that's a great question. I speak Common, Dwarvish, and Orc.
Okay. So it is none of those. Can you give me a history check to see if you can identify it, even though you can't read it?
That is a 12.
Yeah, it is written in Elvish. It's the word "no one," and then you're kind of looking around the body for like anything else, and if you arrange the parts in like a specific sequence, kind of so that the words are all lined up, you can eventually make a phrase that has been carved out across different parts of this body.
Oh, does anyone else speak Elvish?
I do not, but Vivian would be taking notes and writing stuff down. And you, like, if the party was looking at her, she almost has like what would have been a clothespin back then over her nose, because the smell of blood is really, tantalizing to her. So she's trying to be as well behaved as she possibly can in sight of blood and carnage.
Love that.
I'm gonna try and make an argument here for something that I think has been the case all along, but it depends on who the DMs are, right? So I know Sylvan, and Sylvan would be kind of the oldest form of Elvish there is.
Okay.
Because they originate from the Fae.
Yeah, I see where you're going with this.
Now, I'm not saying necessarily that I'd be able to read it, but would I be able to understand maybe enough of it to get an idea of what the sentence might be?
Let's see. Give me investigation.
I always think that about Sylvan. I was like, it's kind of the same thing, really.
Yeah.
It's the old. It's like Latin is to our, English and stuff. Nat 20 for 22.
Wow. And it does take you a minute, and I imagine you have to use your slate and chalk and kind of
Yeah, I'm
maybe a
working
couple
out on
rough drafts.
Yeah.
But you are able to eventually decipher meaning from it. And in Sylvan, vaguely, it says something along the lines of none escape her sight.
Ooh.
Okay. And then I'll show that to the group. Is there any of the symbol on him?
I suppose, yeah, there would be. There would be at the end of this phrase. Vivian, you would recognize it immediately. It is that same 6-pointed snowflake kind of sigil that has been.
So as you're figuring it out, she would point to the party and point to it, and she'd be like, "That's the symbol. That's the symbol I saw."
Right. Are you doing okay in here?
Oh yes, I'll be fine. You just keep
okay.
what we're doing.
Okay. You know, if it gets to be too much, you're welcome to step out. I don't want any unnecessary excitement.
Totally understand. If it gets worse, I'll leave, I promise. You would notice she doesn't want to miss the action, so she's doing her best to behave.
Gotcha.
Is the knife magical? Is that why it's not melting so quick?
Yeah, that would be a pretty reasonable assumption to make. That, you know, ice, if it's not enchanted, would almost certainly melt in the temperature of this room.
Okay. Just trying to see if there's anything kind of magic wise that I can link this to. As in a way for us to, like, so I don't know what it is. Let's just say it's, I'm not au fait with the schools of magic either, but let's just say it's conjuration, that's what's created this. I want to see if I can work out enough of the magic so that if I was to see it again, I'd be kind of on the lookout for it, if that makes sense.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I think give me an Arcana check. That makes sense to me.
I tell you what I can do actually even better than that is I do a detect magic.
Love that.
Glad one of us has that spell.
You can do it for free as well.
Nice.
That's right. Yeah. Detect magic and focusing on it. Actually, at first, you get like there's a pinging from the next room over, where assumingly the other body that was found at the mines, but also this knife and, you know, various enchanted items that your party and this tiefling that's brought you down are carrying. But focusing in on that knife in particular, you do find enchantment magic on it. It is almost similar to the spell magic weapon, but it's not the same thing.
Okay. So I'll note that down. Not in the view of the person, the mortician. I couldn't think of the right word. Yeah. Not in the view of the mortician, but I'll write it on my slate to show it to Katumi. And obviously the others if they're close enough, but basically just out of the view of the other one. And then I'll also put a note to say there's magic in the next room.
Oh. Okay. So we found a horrifying phrase carved into what's left of this dwarf's flesh. Did this poor man have a name?
He did. His name was Rego.
Rego. I'm assuming he has loved ones that would like to.
Well, I mean, I don't know if they'd necessarily want to see him like this, but he was
Certainly
part
not.
of the Battlehammer dwarves that live in the valley just east of here. So I mean that would be where his family is. We haven't made arrangements to bring this to them yet, but I mean I'm sure at some point.
Let's see. We can't, just for now, hold off on that. I'd almost want to speak to them, see if there was. I mean, did you know him at all, speaker?
Well, and she kind of takes a moment. She's like, please, I'm not the speaker. I'm merely his secretary. But I knew of him. I didn't really know him. We weren't friends or anything like that. But, you know, I saw him around.
I just wonder if maybe he was acting a bit strangely prior to, worried if anyone was following him, that sort of thing.
Can you make a persuasion check?
Sure.
Guidance.
Thank you. 18.
This tiefling kind of looks around, and it's just you and the dead in here, and she kind of peeks her head out into the hallway and shuts the door, and kind of voice goes very low and kind of soft, and says, "Look, I shouldn't be telling you this because it is something that the militia have been made aware of, and they're kind of dealing with it in their own way. But yeah, Rhaego, he's from Bryn Shander originally. Has some friends and family here, likes to visit every so often, but he didn't live here. And from what I understand, he was picked to be sacrificed a few days back when we had the sacrifices, the Frostmaiden, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I suppose what happened was he had paid off someone in the clergy to draw a different name, and he was trying to, as far as I understand, trying to make his way back home to the Dwarven Valley before something happened. I guess he wasn't fast enough, but I can tell you that.
Oh, that's more than enough.
And if anyone asks, you didn't hear it from me.
Of course not. Our
So
job is to keep people safe, not put anyone in danger.
Of course.
Turning to Katumi, so wasn't the last body we found, they paid off the sacrificial payment as well, correct?
Yes, yeah. That's correct.
So it's looking like they're taking people's money and their sacrifices anyway.
She looks to the lady, was there anyone sacrificed?
Yes. A second name was drawn, and from what I understand, they were sacrificed 6 days ago.
So either someone's angry because they're, I'm just assuming, poor and can't pay off the sacrificial payment, or there's something else fishy going on around here. I'm not sure which, but something just doesn't smell right to me as she's, wearing her clothespin.
Rumble's going to write on his slate. Do you think it was because they tried to get out of it?
Kind of. I'm kind of wondering if that's the reason. Maybe they're either the people of the community or someone is angry. Sorry, that people are getting out of it, or Earl's collecting 2 debts instead of 1.
I mean, It's not the craziest theory I've heard.
But again, just like you didn't tell us, we didn't tell you.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Before we head out, what happened with the other body in the mine?
Well, I mean, best we can tell by the wounds, someone, it looks like a bunch of stab wounds. Again, not nearly as vicious as this, but yeah, it looks like something pierced this lady a few times in her vital organ areas and, made quick work of her. We found her in the mine. It could be those kobolds who have moved in, but I don't know, it's not really their style.
Is she in the room where the other magic ping is coming from? Or is that a different room altogether?
No, it's the same room.
Well, this obviously wasn't a simple murder. It wasn't like they left her valuables. They didn't take anything. Or at least they didn't take the right thing if they were looking for something in particular. Would you mind if we took a look at that body?
I mean, I suppose there's no harm in it. If you could help us out with this, I don't know if you've heard, we've got a bit of a situation in the mines right now that we need help with. But I mean, if you take a look, maybe think about helping us out with this. All right?
Yeah.
For sure.
She kind of ushers you all out and says a quick prayer under her breath before closing the door, and locks it, moves over to the next room, and does the opposite, unlocks the door and opens it up. And there's this half-elven lady that, has been cleaned and redressed and, looks like she's ready for funeral almost. And, very respectfully, this tiefling that you haven't got her name yet, I hate that, has gone over to the body and just kind of shows you where the wounds are, and shows you basically what she just described you. And these stab wounds are quite different. They are sort of jagged, and there's almost like a curve to the injury, whereas in before it was like very precise, like stab wounds and like peeling and slicing, and like there was much more finesse in poor Rego's killing.
This is more frantic, is it?
Yeah, frantic would be a good word for it. Yeah.
So not being too obvious as well, Rumble's going to kind of walk around and end up kind of looking at the whatever's given in the ping.
All right. And it is kind of similar to how the previous room had that side table where the knife was being kept. There's another similar side table. It's a little bit longer, it's a little bit lower, and it's got this lady's belongings, or what you could assume to be her belongings. There's like a pile of clothes that are bloodstained and kind of torn, and there's like a small pack, and you zero in on the thing that's giving you this this echo of magic. And it's just this little pouch, probably no bigger than a fist, that is kind of sitting amongst all of these torn clothes, and whatever is giving you this aura is inside that pouch. But yeah, that's what it is.
Do I get the nature of the magic, as in the skull?
I will give you the best answer I can, because I don't know what magic this is. Give me a quick second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're feeling like a lot coming off this. It is not one school. It is many schools involved in one thing inside of this. You sense evocation, you sense enchantment, conjuration, you sense abjuration, even you like pretty much all the schools of magic are contained in there somehow.
Okay. So without even saying a word after what I'd already put in the previous room, I'm just going to look towards the group and just kind of, give that little sly nod to, like, this is the thing, if you like, kind of thing.
Gotcha. What did this woman... She was in the mines, but did she work in the mines? What did she do?
Yeah, she was one of the miners. Yeah, Valerie's her name. I actually did know her fairly well. I took a little bit extra time making sure she looked nice and ready for her funeral. But yeah, sorry. Yeah, no, she worked in the mines. She worked there with her husband for must be going on 10 years now.
And I'm assuming these are her belongings.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna look at Rumble and be like, do you want to grab it and show it to her?
So he just picks it up. I'm guessing like
this?
2 fingers, because like it's probably too small for him, but he's like
because I didn't know what item it was, but it's just like, what is this? Could this have been why she was killed?
I mean, do you mind if I take a look? I don't recognize the pouch, but I'll take a look.
Just be careful with it. We don't know what's in here, what it can do.
Yeah, if you don't mind. And she takes the pouch from you, Rumble, and opens it up and looks in and is kind of puzzled and pulls what looks like half of a deck of cards out of that pouch. And these cards don't look like normal playing cards. They are like gold leafed, very elaborate. And with your detect magic still kind of going off, Rumble, you feel just waves of energy coming off of this thing. And she's like, I don't know what I expected. I guess it's just a deck of cards. I don't know. And she puts it back in the pouch and ties it up and kind of tosses it back to you, Rumble. And I really thought that was going to help. I'm sorry. It's just nothing, I guess.
The anarchist in Ryan really wants to pull these cards out.
Would I know anything about the cards?
You can give me yeah, you probably got a good look at it. You give me a history or arcana check.
Oh, nope, I know nothing.
Yeah.
That's a nat 1.
Yeah, you know that it's magical in like a lot of ways based off like, what you've been able to gather as a group so far, but there's whatever this is, you're not sure.
I'm just trying to work out whether Rumble's naive enough to draw one.
Should probably talk to her husband, see if he knew anything about these, or even what happened, how she ended up where she was. Was her body found in the mine, or was it elsewhere?
Yeah, her husband came across her body in the mines, unfortunately.
Oh no!
Oh, how sad.
But yeah, no. If you want to talk to him, I mean, I don't know. I imagine he won't be in a great spirit, but I can give you directions to his house. That wouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, and you must forgive my terrible, terrible manners. I'm so sorry. What is your name?
It's Viridian, dear. It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm actually a bit of a big fan. I've been trying to keep my cool through all this, but like it is really so nice to meet you.
It is lovely to meet you, and again, I do apologize for not asking you sooner.
No, it's okay. I get it. It kind of comes with the job. People are usually here to see the boss, not me. So got to kind of put my ego aside. But
yeah, well, I thought you were the boss. If that makes any difference.
I mean, that feels good.
Yeah, directions to his home would be lovely. I mean, I doubt very much that these two things are in any way connected, but one never knows.
Yeah, no, he's just off on the western side of town. You'll find a pub by the name of the East Side on the west side of town, which I always thought was a bit weird, but just kind of one block more to the center of town. It's the larger house on the corner. So right there.
Is there a west side on the east side?
No, just the blue clam. But I like where your head's at.
So I write on my slate as well about the bag. Keep these secret. Could be important.
Yep, just gonna. For the moment, we're gonna hold on to these, and I'm just gonna put those into the bag of holding. Maybe her husband knows what they are.
Give me a
Why she had them
persuasion
on
check.
her.
It could be a clue.
Dice don't fail me now. 14.
14. She says, I mean, it's a little unusual. I don't
Highly
usually...
irregular, I know, but we're going straight to her husband's house, and if these are part of her belongings...
I mean, I suppose, yeah, we would bring them back to him eventually. Okay, I guess there's not too much of a problem. Yeah, I'll just kind of amend the list of evidence, and we'll be okay.
I appreciate that, and you'll be able to put it right back to rights as soon as we're done with them.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, I mean, do you want to take a closer look at her, or are you heading out?
I'll investigate the body.
I was gonna say, did anybody get in there yet?
No, just kind of let her show you roughly the wounds. But yeah, someone wants to give me either, I suppose, either a nature or a history check would be the one.
Whoever's doing it, Rumble would, of course, just kind of tap them on the hand just to give them a little bit of comfort, as in guidance.
All right, I'll try it. I rolled the wrong one, but... Woo! That's a nat 20.
Nice.
Damn. All right.
I'll still roll guidance just for fun. So it's 25.
Wow, my brain is gone. I was like, yeah, give me that roll, and then I forgot what it was for. Oh, for the wounds. There we go. Yeah. Okay, so with that nat 20, yeah, these are not stab wounds. You realize after looking at them for a little bit, they almost look like beak wounds, like a large bird or something, yeah, it's weird. Like it's definitely a beak of some sort. You can tell by like the shape of the wounds and the way it kind of drags along the body. Yeah, could be a bird, could be a number of other. There are like some insectoid monsters you've heard of that have that sort of beak. There are a fair amount of animals, creatures, monsters that this could be. But whatever it is fairly large, judging by the size of the wounds.
Okay. So she's going to, like, as you guys are talking, she's looking at the body and kind of like inspecting the wounds, and like she's all up in there. There's no sign of grossness. There's no sign of anything. Maybe a little bit of drool from, blood. So she turns to Rumble, and as everyone's kind of talking, she kind of pulls on his fur and she says, "These look like beak wounds, or maybe a weird, like, gigantic insect or something. Something monstrous, or, a beak. I'm not for sure what it is, but this is not a knife."
Would I be able to work out kind of creature-wise what it is then?
Oh yeah, I would take a nature check.
Okay, I will guide myself as well. As I should do with that crappy roll. And that crappy roll, just to add to it. And you know what? Why not? Look, I'm going to add a bless from chat as well.
Okay.
Oh, for crying out loud. that makes up for that nat 20 we caught you with earlier.
Yeah. Oh boy. Yeah. No. It again, like it's a large beak, like much larger than your standard fair bird. Like even like a large eagle or hawk would be pretty tiny compared to this beak. It's hard to tell what exactly did this.
He's just going to kind of like shrug his shoulders, like, no idea.
So, really quickly, she's gonna kind of draw the shape and like how it dragged in the skin.
Mhm.
Like she's not gonna put a piece of paper over it or anything, but she's gonna like, draw it. So maybe if we run into like a librarian or someone who owns animal, she can ask them.
Okay, yeah, just like a very detailed reproduction of it. Okay, love that.
Rumble will even like, give you his hand to like work out measurements as to like, okay, it's my palm width or it's your palm width or
Okay, that works.
Trying to work out sizing.
It's a rumble with finger.
Rumble palm beak.
Yeah, and it does like in fact look like a full rumble fist could fit inside this thing's beak. Just as you're kind of figuring it out, like it is quite big. But yeah, Earl, is there anything you're up to? Haven't heard from you while we're in here.
Not really. No, I would just be standing by, keeping an eye on them.
Love that. In that case, some time goes by, and Viridian kind of takes a moment and says, "Oh my gosh, I forgot. Guard's about to change, and the speaker's about to come back, so I should really lead y'all out of here."
Real quick,
I need
one
to be at my
last
desk.
thing.
But,
Of
yeah.
course. Where can we stay for the evening?
Well, I mean, you could do so through me. I guess we have a number of empty homes that we rent out to people traveling through, or you could take a room at the Blue Clam, or maybe the East Side has some rooms available.
Blue Clam is lovely, but I don't think anyone's getting any sleep in there.
Yeah, no, that tends to be a pretty rowdy place.
What do you guys think? Renting a house just for the night? Get some privacy?
I'm gonna write quickly, but again, only to show it to the guys, and just to say near the guy's house. Question mark.
Yes.
As in the snowflake, as in the Frostchild guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, near the market sort of area.
Yeah.
There is in fact one that is in that general area, just like a block or two out of the market, kind of a little bit more towards the center of town, but a very quick walk.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Right.
If you have anywhere near a marketplace, near the marketplace, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, no, we got a couple that are vacant right now. Yeah, we got one by the market. That should be fine. Typically, we charge 10 gold a night for use of the rooms and the house and the kitchens and all that. But if you're looking into this stuff, let's call it 8 gold. Give you a little bit of a discount if you're here to help the city.
Of course we are. Are you sure?
Yeah, no, it should be fine.
Oh, all right. Just, Vivian, if you could just have her mark it down on our map here, where it is, and then we can head on out.
She pulls
Stop
out
taking
the
up any
map
more of her time.
She pulls out the map, and with not thinking of where to put it, she just kind of stretches it over Earl's back and shows her.
All right, and yeah, there is. If you're looking at the map, it is this particular house here that is free. Yeah, just like literally a block out from where the markets were all set up there.
So if this is his house there, where was if this is the house we're staying in, where was the house of the guy that Vivian followed?
So that one would have been back over here.
Okay, so we can kind of see down that street towards it. Okay.
Yeah, you'd probably get a vantage point at some windows.
Okay, cool.
And then for reference, the husband of the recently deceased half elf in there is over here.
Okay.
But yeah, Viridian kind of very politely but very quickly kind of ushers you all out of the town hall with the keys to this rental property in hand, and kind of closes the door behind you and says, "Thanks again for looking out for us. No, I really appreciate it. You don't see too much of it these days."
Yeah, I am going to quickly just grab a scrap of like parchment. One of the ones that I was using to write my letters with, and I'm just gonna I'm going to just give her my autograph, and I'm just gonna fold it up and hand it to her.
And then she like takes it and unfolds it and kind of, she can't really like hide the smile anymore. She like kind of looks up to you and back down to it and just kind of gives you like a big hug and just launches herself towards you. And so, thank you for this. It's very nice of you.
Absolutely. You've been very kind. Feel free to do what you want with that. And we're going to get out of your hair before we get you into any trouble.
All right.
It goes straight onto Fleabay.
Yeah, and then I guess we'll head out.
All right. You step out onto the street. Interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4. Almost like the moment you set foot onto the ground, there is a whistling and then a thunk, as I'm pretty sure a 24 is going to hit you, right, Katumi?
Yeah, 24 hits.
Yeah. As an arrow strikes you in the rib cage from a nearby house. Looking around, you don't see anyone up there, but you hear a second arrow come in. Katumi, on the first one you took 7 points of damage, and Vivian does a nat 20 is going to hit you.
Oh
shit.
As arrows begin hailing down from some unknown vantage point. Wow, he rolled 2 1s on that. So 5 points of damage for Vivian. And that's how we will close off for this evening, as you are being assailed by some invisible foe. Thank you all very much. It was really nice to sit down with all of you again and play. And thank you for everyone for checking out the stream today. And we'll be back in a couple weeks. Thank you very much to Christian, who runs the stream, does all the tech side, and we wouldn't be able to do any of this without him. But big shout out to both Tabletop Audio and Travis Savoy, who does the majority of the music that you'll hear during this stream. And yeah, again, thank you to everyone for joining today, and we'll see you next time.